glorified God with his life. But I'm going to give you that $6,000 for the television ministry. And we were able to go and put a down payment on a media van that had all the equipment we need in it. And so that's how we started television ministry. I don't know how God is going to use you to be a world changer. I think some of you will end up with your feet, on foreign soil. I know one guy that prayed for those nations behind the Iron Curtain for years. He worked delivering lumber in San Antonio, Texas. And then what happened was he had a burden for, the people behind the Iron Curtain. He became a courier to carry in people behind the Iron Curtain to preach the gospel. I was one of those he took in behind the Iron Curtain. It was a wonderful experience that we had there in Czechoslovakia on the German border and the Polish border, and God moved in a special way. But that's how God gave him a passion for missions. And there are people in this room tonight, by the nature of what God is doing in the church right now, you're going to find yourself in positions and places where you're going to preach the gospel on foreign soil. I remember one time I told a guy named Bobby Mills, I said, I prayed for him and I said, get your passport. You're going to travel the world. Bobby Mills was here the other night. I'd forgotten all about this till Scott mentioned it to me. And what happened was he went down the next day and he got him a passport. He and his wife a passport. And they've traveled now for 25 years or so, 23 or 24 years. They've traveled all over the world in missions. That's the way God works. And so I'm going to invite you to come up here. And back in the back there in the middle, there's one of the continents. And I want you to put your feet on this. Like here's Asia, China. We've had people go out of here to a place called Tuva in utter Mongolia and build churches and plant works for God. And so I know what happened. He was praying here, and God sent him there. And then we've had people pray for Africa. And they spend a great deal of their year every year in Africa. And there are people that have been praying for Europe. And they prayed for Europe here. And their feet are now in Europe, and they're preaching the gospel. Here's North America. Of course, there's so much in Canada and Mexico. And we built many churches in Mexico because God gave me a burden for Mexico many years ago. I think we have about 20 churches and 2 orphanages that we've built down there through the years. And so I'm just warning you right now. When you put your feet on these continents that are cut out, there might be the possibility that you're absolutely sowing into your own future. You remember how that there was a man named Eliezer that was sent to find a bride for the happy son. And he found a girl, her name was Rebecca, and she was there watching, the water hole, the oasis. And there were some guys that were roughing her and her friends up right there at that water hole, at that oasis. And this man stepped in and he drove those guys that were teasing them and bullying them off. And then what happened was she sowed into her own future by watering the camels and feeding the camels. It's no little chore to feed a camel. It's no little chore to water a camel. A camel drinks about 50 gallons of water, and it's called the ship of the desert. And so I'm just telling you right now, there are people in this room, by the nature of this meeting, this is a world changers meeting. And God changed your world, and now it's your responsibility to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. So I just invite you, I dare you to come up here and put your feet on these continents and back in the back there in the middle and begin